Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time On Target morning brief, where we invest in fighter pilot precision every day. Have a good show for you today, talking specifically about Amazon. As you saw in the news, Amazon, of course, crushed earnings last night. That was no shock. However, Jeff Bezos is stepping down. This is actually announced last year that he was going to, but now it's actually going to happen right off in Q3. But let's talk a little bit about the guy that's taken over. That'll be in the headlines this morning. And what's the future of Amazon? Is this, it's a name that I love. Does it now continue to be a name that I love? That's what we're going to unpack in today's show. If you're catching us on replay, thank you so much for subscribing. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you get notified as soon as I upload every day. And if you want to join us live, it's only $25 a month to come on into the room. There's a chat window and a Q&A window to be able to ask your questions to me, and I can talk about whatever is on your mind. With that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, welcome back, everyone. And make sure you have your chat window set up correctly and your Q&A window set up correctly with all attendees selected. All right, standard disclaimer applies. It's a financial education presentation, so you have to do your own due diligence for acting upon anything you hear in this presentation. Full disclaimer information available at ototnow.com. All right, our mission objectives for today: grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. First of all, we're talking about growing our money today, and is Amazon, which has been an anchor in our portfolio for so long, does that continue to be that anchor in the portfolio, or do we need to move on? Is the game at Amazon over? We'll talk about that once we get into our topic of the day. Secondly, for our question of the day, for those that are out in the workforce, tax time is often where you get to the point of you need to make some adjustments in your holdings as far as how much you have withheld for taxes every year. You do that through a W-4. We'll pop that form on the screen there at the end. We'll talk to you about how to make your adjustments there. As far as our flow today, it'll be long, short, open, short, long. We'll take a look at around the world markets out there, including Bitcoin, see what's going on. We'll come back to the headline reviews here in the US. We're going to talk about Amazon. We'll pull up the chart. We'll talk about the current fundamentals, technicals, and the impact of Jeff Bezos moving from, again, CEO up to chairman. So again, it's not like he's out selling all his shares and going home, but it certainly is a transition that's been kind of long awaited. We'll get into the market execution. There are, if you look in the chat, a couple of folks just joined. Let me put those back in here for you. That's not what I was trying to do. So we have long, both long names are marijuana names. We have there we go. Have MJ Long, Tilray Long, if you know those. Tilray's up almost 10% this morning, and then our shorts are Spotify and Jazz Pharmaceuticals. Take a look at that at the open. Contingencies and academic resources are standard. Let's take a look at TD Ameritrade Think Pipes. Go over here and take a look at where the market has been. This is the S&P 500, 9 months from left to right. So you don't see last March in here, the big sell-off. But basically, when you zoom out a little bit, which can be helpful for managing your money, you see that we're basically still in this long-term uptrend. When you look in here at the last 5 days, you can see a lot of volatility here in the SPY. Again, the dark blue is the market open, light blue is when the market's closed. And you'll see that the market's actually resetting more when the market's closed. So last night, we had a good up day yesterday, 2 days in a row, actually. And then pretty well flat going into today's session. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at This is how we'll be set up for our day trading. We'll have 4 panes out there. We'll have SPY, and then we will set these up. I did want to show you MJ, though, that nice spike up this morning. Again, largely that's coming out of the GW Pharmaceuticals and Jazz Pharmaceuticals merger, or buyout, actually, more technically correct. So we'll talk more about that. But then, that's why the marijuana stocks are on fire, because everybody thinks that there's going to be a big push now for medical marijuana, even more so than there has been in the past. All right, let's take a look around the world. Here's CNBC coming at you. We'll refresh the market futures real quick. All right, Dow's a little bit in the red. That's not notable. NASDAQ's up almost 0.5%. Did have a jobs number today as well that's come out this morning. Look at Europe, basically green across the board. Over to Asia, China down a little bit. Everything else is in the green. Here's our numbers from yesterday. Again, when you look at the NASDAQ alone, it was 2.5% the day prior, another 1.5% yesterday. So basically 4% move. Jaden, I'll get back to your question here in a minute. Volatility is starting to come in from the kind of crazy Reddit thing. As far as bonds, we've got 10-year moving up a little bit. That's healthy. Oil stabilized at 55. That's fine. Even precious metals are stable. Silver, again, that was part of your Wall Street bets squeeze. They're denying that, but it was all, okay. It was all over the news, basically. So, up to 27 in the spot price of silver. And then Bitcoin, nice pop this morning, up 1%, up to 37. All right, get back to pre-market. I'm going to pull up the headlines here while I answer Jaden's question so you can kind of see that. So question coming in through the chat: can you trade options in the after hours? Yes, you can. You can trade. You can, but you have to through your platform, depending on who it is. Put it in the chat there. Who you're using, what Robinhood or E-Trade or Schwab, or I don't think you can do any after hours trading in Robinhood. Robinhood, remember, is the E-Trade. You should be able to in E-Trade. You'll have to go in and Google how to trade after hours in E-Trade, because when you go ahead and put your ticker in like you normally do, you have to go ahead and put pre-market, or at least with Schwab, it's external AM. With TD Ameritrade, it says pre-market. So there's a special setting that you have to do. And you can't use market orders. You have to use limit orders pre-market. So again, a lot of your biggest moves are made pre-market. So that's where your real traders, if you will, do operate in the pre-markets. Just realize the normal spread that you have, it's normally a penny, right? When the market's open, because there's a lot of volume. You don't have that in the aftermarket. So a lot of times the spread can be 20, 30 cents. So if you bought something, you turn around and sold it, you're going to be down 30 cents right away, because that's the spread. So now a lot of advanced concepts there. But go to E-Trade. In worst case, you have to call them. But if they have a chat bot or something, talk about pre-market options and see what they say. E-Trade's mature enough, you should be able to. All right, let's go back to our headlines for today. Good question. Thank you for asking. Virtual receptionist through Zoom. I have not seen that. I'll have to look into that. That's kind of interesting. All right, GameStop back in play. 20 after an executive to oversee e-commerce. Okay. Yeah, I'm not worried. I don't think it has any value long term. The main guy there, Deep Effing Value, lost another 13 million yesterday. So he's still up big, obviously, but his hold the line mentality, I think he's losing a lot of folks there on Wall Street bets, because that's largely a prisoner's dilemma of, as long as you're the first one to sell, you're okay. So hold the line kind of doesn't hold water after a while. Okay, here's your next Amazon CEO, Andy Jassy. He basically, if you click on this, it's going to say he built up the Amazon Web Services, the cloud portion of the business, which is really the moneymaker. And that's what you have. That's really why you own the stock, is to make money. And the highest margin, of course, is the cloud. They have I think it's 32, might be 34, but I think it's 32% market share in cloud services. So that is huge. That's not going to go away anytime soon, especially when you have the architect now taking over as the boss. Do I worry that home delivery and all, Amazon Prime and all those things are going to suffer under him? Absolutely not. I do not worry about Amazon at all being able to continue just because they swapped out their jockey, if you will. The horses, when you think of racing scenario, you have the jockey and the horse, and both are just fine coming in here. Okay. Yes, the 1.9 trillion relief bill, I think, is going to happen. I think they'll be able to get that through. The Republicans had a $1 million version. I don't think that's going to happen. Okay, here's your payrolls this morning. That came in 174,000 jobs compared to the 50,000 that they were estimated to be created. So that's what, 3x. So that is a huge beat as far as the jobs market. Tomorrow and Friday we will get a excuse me, we will get an unemployment update. That'll be Friday. So, and we'll see how that affects. I think we're sitting around 6% unemployment. Again, dropping that back down to below 5 would be much more normal, if you will. More vaccine, new government program coming out to 1.5 million doses a day, I think. So pretty amazing what we're able to do as a country. Okay, did have some earnings out there. You know that Amazon, we'll pull our chart here next. Amazon beat earnings, but Google crushed earnings as well. If you go back a couple days, we're talking about your Apple, Amazon, Google, Alibaba as kind of your 4 big tech horsemen, and they're all on fire. Google is the one who's up 7% pre-market off of the beat. Here they get some wise voices. If you know Brandon Copeland, linebacker from the NFL, again, avoid get-rich-quick schemes. So that's why, albeit there is some fun to be had in the Reddit thing, it's better to stick to a plan. He saves 90% of his salary, and he advises other athletes to do so. Again, saving for the out years. And his the stuff that he has said has landed him on several financial committees. So I hear quotes from him on occasion. So good role model for folks out there. Robinhood's going to run some Super Bowl ads because people are leaving in droves. Because they realize there's just no customer service. There's nobody you can talk to there, which is kind of a problem because people want to talk when they can't get their money out of an investment for sure. Okay, let's take a look at Amazon real quick. So here's the chart of Amazon, including the big move up yesterday. Amazon shares are down a little bit this morning. And the question becomes, is this a good long-term investment? Well, you go back to September, the previous highs around 3,500, kind of digested here for a while. So you have this congestion, if you will, where it kind of finds itself. When it dropped down below 3,000 a little bit there, people were starting to doubt Amazon. Largely, this is due to in my opinion, this is due to the price point being up around 3,000. I honestly think Amazon would benefit significantly from a stock split. It's been talked about a little bit. Maybe with a new CEO, they will entertain that. But look what it did for Apple, and look what it did for Tesla, right? Both raged higher after the stock split. So I do think if I had to make a call here, I do think they will do a 5-for-1, 6-for-1 split under new leadership. We shall see. If that's the case, the stock will rage higher. But even without that, I think you're looking at a straight run up to above 4. Maybe some analysts were calling for 5,000. I don't think there's really anything, even as we exit the pandemic, I don't think people are going to sell their Amazon shares just because they can travel now, right? I still think we're getting hooked on to-your door delivery, hooked on that like crack cocaine, right? You log in, you buy whatever it is, you're not going to the store anymore, it's showing up and you're doing your thing. So that's my take. Love Amazon here, and would not have any problem putting any more money into it at the current price point. All right, taking over a look at some of the long names again. MJ, and we'll hit those with the room again for the folks that are joining in late for the trades. So this is Tilray. This horrible cough. All right, this is Tilray this morning, up 10% now, 23 to 25. I do like Tilray long here. It's been on fire. All the marijuana names are going to be catching fire, in my opinion, from the merger we talked about earlier with Jazz and GW, as well as it's a main thesis. When you look at the ETF, it's hard for it to move as much, but it was stuck down below 20 for a long time. It really popped up, closed at 21, up to 22.75. I like Tilray better because it has more room to move. When you look at the shorts, we have Spotify. Missed earnings, a lot of negativity in this news. It's a hard, tough point to short, 345 down to 320. And I think that is what, 6%? Yeah, 6% down. So tough for the price point, but you can do it. And then the next one is part of the merger of Jazz is actually selling off, a little light on volume, selling off, thinking they overpaid for GW Pharma. So that's what we have as far as stocks that are in motion today. And if you want to take the, I kind of like the Tilray long the best out of any of these. So that's what I'll be looking at first. All right, let's go ahead and get our chart set up for the opening day trade over here on TD Ameritrade. So we will put Tilray here to the left, again, looking long. MJ next as the ETF. And then lastly, we will put Spotify as the short, and that's the order in which I like them as well. So give me a second to get set up, and we'll be off to the races. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time, On Target play of the day. We have 30 seconds to the market open here today on Wednesday. You have 4 panes in front of you on the TD Ameritrade ThinkPipes platform. You have the S&P 500 1-minute chart here on the left. That's the SPY. And then the other 3 charts are, it's a long, long short. So you have Tilray long right here. You have MJ short here. And then you have Spotify short over here on negative earnings and news. There's the opening bell. So I'm kind of looking at our short over here first. I like Tilray long, and we'll see. It opens up what 8% and MJ up 6%. I see that selling, so we're going to keep an eye on that for a second. If that sells off, we'll try to find we'll see where the bottom of the day is established and then go higher from there. That's some pretty aggressive profit taking. Zoom in on that just a touch. All right, over here in Spotify, down 7.8%, so that's right in the sweet spot. The high of the day, zoom in here. High of the day is up above, closer to 322, so that would be our upper stop. So for taking this south, actually, let's come back to Tilray. It's popped up. This is basically a $1 move higher here. We aren't going to be able to cover the bottom of the day, but let's go 25.50 with a 50-cent stop long. That takes us down to 25, gives us an exit point of 27. So I'm wanting to go Tilray long. I am looking at the short over there in Spotify. It's bringing a little tear to my eye because it just keeps dropping. All right, looking at 25.50 long with a 50-cent stop in Tilray. There it is. It just hit. So 50 cents, and we're going long. So we'll draw that in here. Your exit point is 25. That's Crooked Arrow, who can draw at this time of the morning, evidently. So there we go. So 25 isn't the low of the day, but that's our stop. So it's just below where this second-minute tick was right here. We'll zoom in now. So you can see it's just below that. So an even 25 is our stop. We're in at 25.50. The first R point is 26. The second R point, 26.5, and our exit point is 27. So when you set up your two brackets here, it's called an OCO order if you haven't used one condition or the other, meaning you put in both orders to sell it all at 25 or sell it all at 27. And then as soon as one of them hits, the other order is cleared out. So the trade's working against us. Yep. Keep an eye on it there. Looking over at the right-hand chart, Spotify is still falling. So at 319 would have been the actual entry point for a 322 stop. And so that would be in the green had we taken it. 316, 313, 310 is the exit, would have been the exit point there. We're not in this trade, but just saying if you took it right here, which would have been the entry, but we didn't get it, so we shall see. We are in the Tilray trade. We're right back around our even point. See the market selling off a little bit, and Tilray's starting to get some legs back into it. So we'll keep an eye on that. Let's see. We'll get rid of MJ. Luckin Coffee was popping this morning. See what's up? Not much, 3%. Let's see what some other names. Jazz was selling off. It has recovered, so that would not have worked from a short. So 146 all the way up to 164. That was gapping down 6% pre-market. Look at that move up. Pretty significant there. And then back to MJ in the green, 7%. CGC, Canopy Growth, which is another marijuana name, up 3%. ACB, Aurora Cannabis, up 4%. Another ETF called Toke, up 6%, pretty thinly traded. That's why you see that there. Okay. And let's check around on just what Apple's doing this morning. Apple's pretty flat. So we're in our trade again. We're in at 25.50. We're bracketed between 25 with an exit at 27. I am going to leave the trade to look around the world here. So have this either your stops put in or your up on another screen. Sony beat earnings. So I'm looking at the left-hand side of this here. Sony beat earnings is up 9%. There's MJ bouncing around up 7%. That's the marijuana ETF. Google, you know about, has crushed earnings last night. YCBD is another cannabis name, obviously, since you see CBD in the title. Same with CLXPF, also cannabis as well as psychedelic. MongoDB is up. Where's it bouncing around here? That is a software. Workhorse is back up after selling off over 10% yesterday. Been a little bit of a ride with the in the electric vehicle space. Same with Fubo, a little bit. That's Fubo TV, a little bit manipulated there by, you hear about that as part of the Wall Street bets sort of thing. Palantir has sold off hard. You want to look at an interesting chart. So PLTR was above 40. What's this? 5 days ago, it was up at 45. Was on fire right after their demo day, and then touched almost 30 down at the bottom. So again, 33% haircut off of that huge run up from demo day. Starting to get its legs back under. Can you buy Palantir here? Yes, you can. It's going to be around for a long time. All right, Luckin up 3%. Alibaba up 3%. There's our Bitcoin up 2.5%. Let's go ahead and look what's down today. Electronic Arts, FireEye, Revive Therapeutics. You will see the psychedelic names sell off sometimes because of the same investor that's going into psychedelics is also into marijuana. So if the marijuana names go higher, then you can see just money flow from people selling psychedelic investments to go into marijuana. So Hillion's the old shell. That's an EV player. There's the Shopify down a little bit. So a few names in the red, but for the most part, looking at a green market. Dow still a little bit in the red. NASDAQ's up 0.6, so about where we opened. So, all right, let's go back and check on the trade and see how it's going. Okay, it did hold here. So again, that's why you keep the faith. So we're up over an R, basically 1.5 R. As we go higher here, we'll just, maybe we get our exit while we're talking about it. So 26.5 is the 2R point. It just touched that, and then 27 is your exit. So I'm going to keep this chart up while we're talking about the W4 instead of pulling that screen up. So, yep, we're still on the correct screen there. Okay, so let's close on out with the W4. The W4 is the IRS form that is filled out by employees to indicate their tax situation to their employer. So when you work, obviously you have money withheld. You can claim certain exemptions on the W4 or the maximum exemptions. And again, the more exemptions you claim, the less taxes that are actually being held from you. So if you are owing, if you're young and just getting a job, you don't need to have as much withheld. But if you do, you can take it all the way down to 0 exemptions and you have as much held as possible. Once you max out, there's our exit point on the trade there. So I'll recap the trade real quick, and then we'll get back talking to IRS stuff. So we entered the trade at 25.5 on Tilray long on the positive news. So entered it here. It worked against us for, for a little bit. we got into it right after this stop. So we were into it on minute 3 as it bounced up here. And then basically it tested right around that 25, went right to 26, 26 and a half, and then touched 27 where we were completely out. I wouldn't hold any past this. I would just take the profit there. All right, that's what I've got for play of the day. All right, back to the W4 situation, and pull this over to the chart. So here's the key takeaways. Employers fill it out. Yep, we just talked about that. Increasing the number of allowances decreases the amount of money withheld from the check. So with your exemptions, basically you put more money in your pocket. You get rid of all those and they'll take out the max. And if you're in a situation where you make either money on the side or you're starting to make significant amounts of money through different ventures like investing, things like that, you may actually have to pay quarterly taxes. Like I pay quarterly because of my 2 businesses, this one and the podcast. So both of them drive me to pay quarterlies anyway. But if I didn't, I would have had to from a personal tax situation. So it's one of these, how do you find this? You talk to your HR department and they will be able to point you in the right place. A lot of times you can do it online. They have it linked to your 401k. So you can find how to adjust your W4 so you do everything online there. So, all right, I'm going to close out for today. We'll go back to the overall market here and check out where we are. Alphabet and Amazon jump. Let's just go ahead. I'm looking on another screen. Just want to pull up, see what Amazon, it was down pre-market. It's basically flat, down 0.4%. So, all right, that's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for checking in. We will check back with you tomorrow. Bye.